guys? Welcome back to the qualifier for the WTS America Premier League. I hope you're enjoying the game so far. I certainly am. We had a great game one there between JYP and Macsed, and it leaves me wondering what's going to happen in game two.
Yes, it does. That was crazy. Game one. Oracle's really being great there. Game two is going to be on Belshir Vestige. Can Macsed pull the repeat and 2-0 another top Korean Protoss? Remember, he just beat Sage in the brackets as well.
Oh, you're right.
He could be a PvP death machine.
He could. A PvP death machine. That's a nickname I want one day. Hopefully I can get to the level of Macsed eventually in my lifetime. But here we are in game number two. As Nicholas said, it is on Belshir Vestige. In the bottom right-hand location, we have the blue Protoss player who is currently down by one game. He must win 2 in a row to remain in this tournament, or his chances of qualifying for the Premier League of WCS America are shattered. He is JYP. His opponent in the top left-hand location coming from, in my opinion, behind. Pulling out some crazy decision-making in very pressured times. He is the red Protoss player hailing from China, 1 win away from advancing on to the next round of this lower bracket. He is Macsed.
I was actually really impressed with his micro as well on that Stalker attack. That was really, really great control. It's not very easy to continue to damage your opponent when DTs are killing you.
Yes.
But Macsed used the mobility of the Stalkers to reduce the amount of damage that DT could put out. And he knew he had to basically erase JYP's economy. Or else, you know, once he leaves, JYP would, even if it was just like 5 probes, he would rebuild. And once he rebuilt a few Stalkers with Blink, that would be it.
Do you think if JYP had a sentry, would it change much in that last game?
Yes. But then you wouldn't have had Blink.
Right. So, like, the choice to go for both DT and Blink was a little bit interesting.
You know, I think he didn't anticipate how many units Macsed could have coming at him.
Right.
I think he was like, okay, he did proxy Stargate, and he's put all his resources into that, so I can afford to get both DTs and Blink. And you know, he was almost right. He was almost right. And I think against almost any other opponent, he actually would have won that game.
Yeah.
But yeah, just couldn't quite get that defense going. That was an awesome game.
It was a lot of fun. If you don't know what we're talking about and you're just now tuning in, or you're watching this VOD on YouTube, you can check that out on YouTube as well. youtube.com/officialmlgse2. If you're watching this live, it should be up in a few hours, I'd say. 1080p, youtube.com. Pretty good stuff there. Of course, it begs the question, what is going to be presented to us in Game 2? I think we're already going to be able to identify no proxy shenanigans. Both third pylons are in their respective main bases. So no proxy targets here on Belshir Vestige.
You know one other thing, actually, the more I'm thinking about last game?
Yeah.
Watching the top Koreans play, when they go proxy Stargate, they often like cut a lot of probes, proxy their second pylon, and get that Stargate even faster.
Yes.
Right? And basically it's a stronger proxy insofar as getting to Oracle faster, but they have less economy and they can't do that 3-gate follow-up. And JYP, being primarily a Korean player, is probably used to that style of proxy Stargate, right? And so he's not used to having a proxy Stargate that's a little bit slower. And he probably didn't even think to look at the game clock and would say, hey, wait a minute, that's 15 seconds, 20 seconds slower. But that also...
He's actually going to have an economy to potentially sustain the gateway pressure.
Yeah, and so that could be one of those advantages of having, the unknown style that a lot of these Chinese guys have. Oh, we can see.
Oh my God. That's not that probe's pylon.
No, they're staring down at each other. I feel that's why JYP probably ran his probe, because he was thinking about doing something he decided not to.
Well, that pylon has been scouted, has been spotted. And we have a Dark Shrine from Mr. Macsed. And his opponent already has a Robo, so he has an Observer on the way. And JYP is going to be adding on a Twilight Council. So, I mean, based on, obviously, the Robotech and the Observer, that should be coming out fairly soon, or that's going out fairly soon. I don't know how strong this Dark Templar play is going to be. In fact, it might just not work. But we'll see.
Yeah, one of the big questions when going DTs is always, how much should you commit to it, right? Because if you warp in one DT, and you get to their base, and their robotics facility just finishes, you're like, dang it, if I send in 2 DTs, I could just kill the Robo one a game before the Observer comes out. But if you warp in, like 4 DTs, and you head to their base, they have Observer, and you lose all 4 DTs, all of a sudden that's a lot of resources lost. So it's really a balance. This is a case where if Macsed, you know, commits too heavily to DTs, and there's an Observer there, he could be in trouble. But the Observer
went across the map, and he made an Immortal next. He only made 1 Observer.
But he does have his Zealots there blocking the ramp, so as long as he's...
And a Force Field available.
Yeah, he could definitely use those Force Fields to buy time if he can find out. DT slice it. Oh! There's no Force Field!
Oh, no.
That did not just happen.
There's 1 Force Field in the Immortal.
That was actually a really good one.
Saying, you shall not pass, but the Observer is going to be Chrono boosted out here. The DT is stuck.
He's trying to get through. You know, that was actually a really good Force Field.
Yeah.
But the DT is actually already pretty much worth it. He's definitely worth it.
Did he cancel? JYP canceled the Dark Shrine. Oh, did he? Oh, I don't think he ever had a Dark Shrine.
No, he was going.
So he's going Blink, and he's got 4 gateways.
Oh no!
Oh my gosh, the DT got away.
That DT, man, that is the wonder DT. So his opponent, not only did he get up the ramp, he killed 4 probes. He caused a lot of lost mining time because the probes had to, you know, move around and stuff.
Yeah.
And he gets out of there.
Gosh.
He went to some crazy ninja school, man.
All right, Pylon is being targeted down here from Macsed.
This is not an American Ninja Warrior.
No.
This is the original.
American Ninja Warrior.
This is the true Ninja Warrior.
Was there an American version of it?
Yes.
I love the was it? I'll just say Asian version.
It's just called Ninja Warrior.
Japanese.
It's just called Ninja Warrior, but yes, it's
Japanese. Right? Okay. Yeah. But there were like Americans who participated.
Yes.
Okay.
Mostly Japanese.
All right. Well, that Dark Templar did not pass the initial test of the Ninja Warrior.
Nope.
But this guy is still
And
alive.
he even escaped.
Yeah.
So JYP sends a Stalker Death Squad with an Observer to hunt him down. He's like, nope, not happening.
Yeah.
Wow. That DT, he is something. Something else.
I mean, the question is, can he lead his side to victory here in Game 2? And give him the 2-0. I mean, Max said, let's consider things. He has his natural expansion on the ground. JYP just now placing his on the ground. But Blink is done for JYP. However, he's keeping a lot of units back home, so he's not looking like he wants to be aggressive to potentially abuse this expansion.
Yeah, I don't know if he feels he can because...
Yeah, at this point, I don't think he can.
Yeah, I mean, DTs could come from anywhere, right? He doesn't want to potentially, you know, lose to a base trade thing. And of course, he doesn't really have a super high Stalker count either. So Macsed's going to be looking great. Of course, a faster expansion. On the downside for Macsed, because he couldn't identify that JYP wasn't doing a Blink Stalker all-in, he wasn't really probing up his expansion until just now he started to resume probe production because he wanted to crank out as many units as possible, make sure he's getting Immortals, Sentry, Zealots. So if JYP was pushing across the map to try to utilize Blink, Macsed would have been okay.
JYP blinking up to the high ground, using that Observer to get that vision. But being very sneaky, not moving from this location just yet. Probably wants to do some multi-prong.
He's going to distract from the... I know what he's trying to do. If Max had sent his whole army back up, yeah, he would have force fielded the ramp. But Max had, of course, being very good. Doesn't send his army back.
Oh, and he's going to turn around and just straight up engage. Mothership Core placing down that Photon Overcharge onto that natural expansion Nexus. JYP is going to have to retreat for now. Meanwhile, the Stalkers in the main get a decent amount of damage done. Workers killed up to 12 for JYP. It's now 31-26 in favor of JYP as we see a Stalker fly off the cliff and bounce on that cliff that I didn't even know had physics attached to it. Kudos Blizzard, that was pretty cool. But
it was pretty cool.
JYP unable to make that work.
Yeah, it's hard to tell who that favored. He got a bunch of nice probe kills, but he did lose that Stalker Squadron.
Right.
Yeah, I feel that went well for JYP. 4 Stalkers for, what did he get, 12 probes, we said?
Let me check again.
Yeah, because I don't think he had really any probe kills coming into that. So
they're back even in the harvest. Yeah, so JYP was at a situation where he was kind of behind in probe, so
he was. I mean, he was definitely behind in this game, and now it's pretty much dead even as far as workers, as far as army size, and actually JYP's even ahead in tech. So he was definitely a really well done move.
It would have been perfect if he had been able to bait his entire opponent's army up the ramp and then force field. That might be a game ending.
Oh, yeah, that would have been 100% game ending because not only would Max have lost all the probes in the low ground, he would have lost a Nexus, he would have lost a couple pylons. I mean, and it's not like he could then counterattack and win the game because he didn't really have an army advantage of any worth. So JYP is going to be, he's still going to be happy with the way the game went out. Both players going to the Colossi.
Yeah. Interesting the deviations between going Stargate and going Colossi. It seems like the metagame, as far as that's concerned, in PvP is pretty much changing every single day regarding that. But, you know, Colossi are very powerful.
Yeah, you know, both these players went Blink. So if you both have a bunch of Blink Stalkers, and one of you adds a couple Colossi, another one adds a couple Void Rays, the guy with the couple Colossi is going to win. Because the Colossi will kill all the Stalkers faster than the Void Rays will. And then, you know, while Void Rays are good against Stalkers, there's only going to be a couple versus a lot. So that's kind of why they both at least initially went Colossi. Now, because Void Rays as they scale up get very, very good against those Stalkers, potentially, maybe once the players are on 3 bases, we could see some, you know, additional Stargates to really make that super late game composition.
I think JYP has range, and his opponent doesn't.
No.
So there could be a potential timing here. Now, of course, whenever you're considering Protoss offensives, you have to consider Photon Overcharge and how big of an impact that can have. However, JYP, Charge is about to finish. He's adding on a Templar Archives. Does he have a probe with his composition to make any forward pylons? Because having some Archons in the mix would be huge in this situation. He might just maybe try to contain his opponent and take a third. That's another option that JYP has.
It definitely is. It definitely is. The fact that he's adding more probes actually doesn't signify that much because he's still not quite at 2-base saturation, so there's no real intention revealed yet. These type of Colossi timing attacks, when you might have range and they might not, aren't nearly as good in Heart of the Storm as they were in Wings of Liberty because, like you mentioned, that Photon Overcharge. Yes. With 13 range, its damage isn't... It's like, yes, it doesn't really do much damage. So the armies that are here right now, if it just lets itself attack Zealots, it's not going to be a big factor. But a top player like these guys, you know, the Colossi are so important, you're going to focus on the Colossi, and then once you kill a couple of your opponents, it's going to give you that immense advantage.
They both kind of stopped probe production at the 2-base saturation. JYP setting up a third pylon here outside that third location, implying he eventually wants to take a Nexus there. But, you know, it might be one of those cases where they're kind of nervous, right? If your opponent does a 2-base timing attack and you're making probes and not investing everything into your army, and then you make yourself vulnerable, that can be a very tricky situation. Also, nice little feedback on that Phoenix. Wait, was that a hallucinating Phoenix? Yeah, that was a hallucinating Phoenix.
Yes.
So feedbacking a hallucinating Phoenix. All right, now I've seen everything. But, you know, forgot what my point exactly was, but you want to stay as safe as possible in games like these. Oh, in PvP generally it's going to be lower economy versus other matchups.
It definitely will be. We can see both players now, you know, that they kind of scout each other out, both using those hallucinations. They're going to really, they're feeling comfortable enough to take the third base. Maxed's going to be a little bit ahead in upgrades. He also has double robos. So he's going to be ahead in net robotics production. And if there's no Stargate units in play, it really comes down to a lot who has a greater Colossi count. Macsed, even using that second robo, he's been able to produce a higher Immortal count. He's able to get that Warp Prism. So I really like his position right now.
All right, both these players trying to secure those third bases. We have a Warp Prism here from Macsed, approaching his opponent's main base. Now, obviously JYP knows about the DTs, but that means he's keeping an observer at his natural with his army. However, that doesn't mean he's added on cannons in his main base, which means it could be a potential vulnerable location. So we'll have to see how much damage Macsed can do with these DTs. This could be a great move here.
It definitely can. There's not that many probes at the main, but you can still disrupt the gas mining, and the gas mining is often so important.
Oh, where'd the DT go?
Oh, he's going after the probes.
He's got one probe kill. He's got one probe kill. He's got one probe kill.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably not gonna do much more. But
delaying gas mining time, I guess.
Yeah, it's not clear who, you know, if that was worth it or not. It wasn't a significant. It's not gonna be a significant factor. But Maxed's also 3 Stalkers caught off guard here.
I think JYP might get away again. He has blink. His opponent does too. So it's not like there's an advantage as far as that's concerned.
You know what's interesting? Macsed, even though he has double robo, he's really been focusing as much on Immortal production as he has on Colossi. Max is up to 5 Colossi, but he also has 5 Immortals. So, you know, if those...
I only see 2 in this composition. Am I blind?
They're all hanging back somewhere.
Macsed backing up a little bit. Also, there's a counterattack into the third base of Macsed with a bunch of Zealots here from JYP. Big engagement going to happen here in the middle of the map. Archons and Zealots versus Archons and Zealots. Colossi from above trying to get damage done, but JYP, he has so many Colossi here still alive. 6 in total to the 4 from his opponent, but here come those lazy Immortals finally joining in on the army. And the Colossi getting stuck a little bit. The Immortals is getting some key shots off, taking down 1 Colossus, almost 2, but here come the charge lot reinforcements from JYP. Meanwhile, the Zealots were cleaned up there on the other side of the map, so Macsed up 105 to 90 in supply, able to deal with that counterattack. Did he lose much over there?
No.
Okay.
He ran to probes. He lost a few probes, and most of them escaped. And these 3 Dark Templar took out those Zealots. Now they're wandering around across the map.
Yes. Isn't that great to be able to do?
Yes.
My opponent's counterattacking. Oh, I'll just make DTs.
It's definitely a significant advantage.
Of course, PBT, that's definitely felt as well. Of course, you know, that fight was really interesting because it felt like JYP was definitely ahead after a certain amount of time. Again, it was like 6 Colossus to 4, but then Macsed had those 2 rallied-in Immortals come in there, and that really changed the pace of the battle. JYP was forced to run away, even had some Colossi get stuck near the ledge there, to where, you know, it didn't seem that bad at all for Macsed.
It really didn't. JYP was able to escape with all of his Colossi. He definitely would have been better off, but getting them stuck on the edge was not very fun. Going forward, though, you know, I said I like Macsed's position better, and I think I still do, but it really could go either way. I mean, JYP has a lot of Colossi, he's got a lot of Archons. He's adding that second Robo.
We have +3 on the way here from Macsed, where it's only +2 here for JYP.
Definitely has it up.
Pretty important, honestly. But honestly, you know, it will come down to how these armies are positioned. Like, let's say Macsed only has 2 Colossus in the battle versus the 6 Colossus in the battle of JYP, as far as how many Colossi are shooting at once. You know, that's definitely to favor JYP, obviously. So look out for how these guys are going to position their units to make sure they have that superior concave.
JYP now starting to add in his own Immortals. Typically, if it's Colossi versus Colossi, usually it's somewhere between 6 and 8 is the number of Colossi, or maybe 6 and 10. 8's like the number a lot of people stop at, but it's usually between 6 and 10. You don't want to get too many more because then you actually run into overkill problems. Too many Colossi shooting the same unit, not really getting the benefit of their additional power. So that's when you really want to start incorporating those Immortals. Max has been doing that all game. JYP just now adding those Immortals, but of course...
Oh, he's cut up this ramp, and JYP can set up a concave?
Yeah, there's no way Max wants to engage there when JYP's Colossi have a nice concave. He's thinking about it.
He's scaring me, man.
Yeah, he's not going to go up there. What he's trying to do is, he ran a couple units at a third base. I think he was hoping JYP
he had
wouldn't
3
react.
Zealots take down a cannon, but JYP was on top of that.
Yeah. So if you can distract your main army, sometimes you can get those harassment techniques to be much more effective. So that's all Max is doing. He's not going to commit up the ramp, but he might be able to pick off. Oh, if he can get JYP to commit down the ramp.
Oh yeah.
That ramp is definitely no man's land. Whoever steps on it is going to be destroyed. Max is actually he's going up.
He's coming up the range. He's feeling very confident. JYP is going to have that concave, and as you said before, Maxed's entire army is very clumped up, and more so, JYP has a pylon right here outside his statue, so he can reinforce really fast. Macsed deciding to engage, but he just got dismantled in that fight.
Yeah, all of his Immortals were clumped and really went down to the Colossi.
Flanking Zealots too from JYP.
Yeah, great moves by JYP here. The Immortal leading the charge. Now, though, it's Macsed with the warp and reinforcements. JYP needs some extra Zealots.
The time warp on the Colossus, trying to micro them back, but JYP looking great in this battle, up 100 to 84 supply. Macsed felt pressure to engage, warping in some desperate DTs, but JYP a little bit too good for that, has that Observer in that composition, and Macsed is going to be forced to back up, desperately trying to chrono boost out to Colossus because he knows there's probably going to be an inevitable counterattack, as JYP has to feel like he has an advantage here.
He definitely does. I don't know if it's quite enough to launch a counterattack, given that when you both have double robos, the rally difference can play such a big role. But JYP definitely wants to do going forward, take a 4th base, deny Maxed's 4th base. That's how you really turn his current advantage into a bigger one. As the first primary 3 bases are starting to mine out, that's when it really becomes important who can defend that 4th base.
You know what that was? I think Macsed really wanted an engagement to happen because his +3 had just finished, and he knew JYP was still on +2. So he wanted to force that engagement so he can have that advantage as far as the upgrades are concerned. Because when you're both essentially maxed in PvP, you know, you're going to take every advantage you can get. But the fact that he had to move up a ramp and give his opponent the concave, I don't think that advantage is there anymore.
I mean, it definitely didn't pay off for him in that battle. We can say that for sure. Both players doing some little bit of Zealot harassment. We see JYP defending his 3rd, now doing a little bit of a counter pressure. JYP knows Macsed on the low ground, so he can go and take the high ground. A brilliant tactical play.
He could even just isolate his opponent, and he's going to set himself up with the concave, taking out a pylon first. There's the time warp onto the Colossus. JYP up 129 to 102 in supply, trying to even up this series and keep his hopes alive in this WCS America Premier League qualifier. Archon, Zealot reinforcements coming in here from JYP, trying to close out his opponent. The supplies are very, very close. One Colossus going to come in from the left-hand side, but
there's no observer.
It's 2 versus 2 in the Colossus. Oh, DT getting damage done. No observer here from JYP. Immediately has one in production, and Macsed stays alive.
A great positioning for JYP.
DT chops at the legs of those Colossus.
But one thing in PvP, what's so much more important than positioning is having that reinforcing pylon. Macsed had that reinforcing pylon, so he was able to warp into DT, warp in more Zealot reinforcements, and so he was able to take that battle, even though JYP had the better initial position and the better competition at the time of the start of the battle.
Oh, Macsed feeling a little bold here, coming across. He just killed 2 Colossus. He just pretty much cleaned up JYP's army.
He's got to deny the 4th.
He has to deny that 4th because he doesn't have one behind this, so he does not want JYP to get that income advantage. Going to be engaging into that cannon, into this Nexus, but JYP coming forward with so many charge lots. No Mothership Core here, though. Only 1 Colossus. So if Macsed can kite properly, he could theoretically take down all these Zealots, but only 1 Zealot left now. Nothing left to tank these Colossus. Here comes an Archon and a Zealot, though, to help things out. And Macsed going to take that up, but JYP keeping that 4th alive.
This is definitely where the game's going to be decided in the next few moments. Macsed now with the warp and reinforcement pylon.
Oh, that's a big warp in.
Does JYP have an observer because 2 DTs are in Macsed's composition?
I think he should. There's another Colossus coming in here from JYP. The
observer
DTs
died, I think.
Gosh, yeah.
Macsed must have
I think
sniped
you must
it.
be right.
DTs
Macsed,
could be instrumental.
Oh my gosh, where's the observer from JYP? I'm hitting the units tab. There is one observer somewhere. There it is, just now joining in on the fun. But Macsed has 5 Colossus here, and the 2 DTs have been chopping up everything. Macsed is going to be able to deny this 4th base, and he's putting himself in prime position this game. He's up 106 to 75 in supply, keeping those Colossus alive. And JYP desperately trying to hang on. Did he mine enough from that base to be able to try to come back?
I don't know. I mean, it's going to be tough. His 3rd is really his only mining base that's super active right now. Macsed's moving in, trying to finish the game.
Oh my gosh, Macsed with so many units here. JYP trying to make it work, but here comes some more Stalker reinforcements from Macsed. The Zealots, chopping the Zealots. There's the GG from JYP, and Macsed takes the 2-0 over JYP. I am very impressed. Taking out Sage, and now a 2-0 over JYP.
Macsed clearly a very high-level understanding of PvP. Those are 2 of some of the best PvP games I've seen in quite a while. A very impressive performance. He's going to advance to losers round 12, where he's going to face off against Alive. The winner of that match will be our 8th and final qualifier into that Premier League.
So we got a Protoss and a Terran left in this WCS America Premier League qualifier. Only 1 player can qualify. Again, for Season 1 Premier League of WCS America, guys, when we come back, we're going to find out. It's going to be a best of 3 between Alive and Macsed. We'll see you after a quick break.